What if the hardwood courts that showcase superhuman athleticism also hide some of basketball's most powerful untold stories? Behind the highlight reels, championship rings, and multi-million-dollar contracts lie personal journeys of identity that challenge everything we think we know about masculinity in professional sports. From brave public declarations to swirling rumors and speculation, these narratives reveal the complex reality beneath the carefully crafted public personas of our basketball heroes. The pressure to conform in a hyper-masculine environment has created a culture where some of the game's greatest talents live divided lives, one under the spotlight, another in the shadows. If these hidden stories fascinate you, hit that subscribe button and join us as we explore the complex intersections of identity, fame, and courage in professional sports. This is just the beginning. Jason Collins, the groundbreaker. Jason Collins may not have been a superstar in terms of points or highlight reels, but his name is etched in NBA history for a very different reason. He shattered one of professional sports' last great taboos. Standing at 7 feet tall, Collins spent 13 seasons in the NBA as a defensive specialist and role player, appearing in over 750 games and reaching back-to-back NBA Finals with the New Jersey Nets in 2002 and 2003. His career statistics, 3.6 points and 3.7 rebounds per game, may seem modest, but his impact transcended numbers. For years, Collins carried a weight far heavier than any defensive assignment. He hid his sexuality from teammates, fans, and even his fiancée, WNBA star Carolyn Moose, to whom he was engaged for 8 years. Just weeks before their planned wedding in 2009, Collins abruptly ended the relationship, leaving Moose confused and heartbroken. Only later did she learn about his internal struggle. In April 2013, Collins made history when he publicly came out as gay in a Sports Illustrated cover story, becoming the first active NBA player to openly identify as homosexual. His revelation sent shockwaves through the sports world. President Barack Obama personally called to commend his courage, while fellow athletes, coaches, and fans rallied around him in support. The significance of his choice of jersey number, 98, became clear after his announcement. It was a quiet tribute to Matthew Shepard, a young gay man murdered in a 1998 hate crime, signaling Collins' deep connection to the LGBTQ+ community even before his public revelation. After coming out, Collins signed with the Brooklyn Nets, playing briefly before retiring in 2014. In retirement, he transitioned into advocacy, using his platform to promote inclusivity in sports. He became a spokesperson for LGBTQ+ athletes and worked with organizations like GLSEN to create safe spaces for young people in athletics. Jason Collins' story is about far more than basketball statistics. His willingness to live authentically redefined what it means to be a role model in sports. He paved the way for future athletes to come out without fear, ensuring his legacy will be remembered as one of courage, honesty, and breaking barriers in a realm where stereotypes had long seemed impenetrable. John Amaechi, the intellectual pioneer. John Amaechi's path to basketball stardom was anything but traditional. Born in Boston but raised in Stockport, England, Amaechi often felt out of place, tall, bookish, and more interested in ideas than locker room banter. Yet his natural size and determination propelled him into basketball, eventually earning him a scholarship to Penn State University, where he became a standout forward. After going undrafted in 1995, Amaechi fought his way into the NBA, debuting with the Cleveland Cavaliers before finding his footing with the Orlando Magic. Over 5 NBA seasons, he averaged 6.2 points and 2.6 rebounds per game, solid numbers that don't fully capture his impact on the court. Most notably, he turned down a $17 million contract from the Los Angeles Lakers to remain with the Magic, a decision that stunned the basketball world and cemented his reputation as a man guided by principle rather than fame or fortune. But Amaechi's most groundbreaking moment came in 2007 with the release of his memoir, Man in the Middle, where he publicly came out as gay, becoming the first former NBA player to do so. He described the suffocating environment of homophobic locker room culture, where slurs were common and the pressure to conform was relentless. His candid writing made clear that he wasn't just an observer. He was living those struggles in real time. The impact of Amaechi's honesty was immediate. While some critics dismissed his story, many others praised his bravery. Unlike athletes who fade into obscurity after retirement, Amaechi carved out an entirely new path as a respected psychologist, broadcaster, and consultant on organizational performance. He received the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in 2011 for his contributions to sport and social justice. Amaechi has often emphasized that basketball was only one chapter of his life. For him, the real legacy lies in mentoring leaders, promoting inclusion, and showing that athletes can be intellectuals with complex identities. His journey from NBA hardwood to academic lecture halls proves that authenticity can be a form of greatness as powerful as any championship ring, perhaps even more enduring. Isaac Humphries. The brave Australian Isaac Humphries' name might not carry the same global recognition as LeBron James or Stephen Curry, but in 2022, the Australian center made history far beyond the box score. Born in Sydney in 1998, Humphries showed early promise, representing Australia in youth tournaments before joining the University of Kentucky, one of college basketball's most storied programs. After going undrafted in the 2017 NBA draft, he signed preseason contracts with the Atlanta Hawks and Los Angeles Lakers before building a successful career in Australia's National Basketball League, NBL. While his basketball resume is respectable, averaging 11.6 points and 5.4 rebounds during his NBL career, Humphries' true impact came when he publicly came out as gay in November 2022, becoming the first active professional men's basketball player in a top-tier league to do so. The announcement was raw and deeply personal. Speaking to his Melbourne United teammates, Humphries revealed that years of hiding his identity had driven him into depression, culminating in a suicide attempt in 2019 while living in the United States. His voice breaking with emotion, he explained that he was tired of living a double life and wanted to embrace his authentic self. "I know how it feels to be in a dark place, and I don't want anyone else to feel like that," he said, words that resonated globally. The timing of his revelation was no accident. Humphries had reached a point where secrecy had become more dangerous than truth. He described years of sneaking around, deleting apps, and lying to teammates just to preserve an image of normality in a hyper-masculine environment. Coming out allowed him to reclaim his mental health and become a role model for countless young athletes grappling with the same fears. Humphries' announcement came nearly a decade after Jason Collins retired, highlighting the gap between when players feel safe to come out and when society begins to accept them. Unlike Collins, who revealed his truth after his NBA career was effectively over, Humphries chose visibility while still competing, a decision that carried significant professional risk. Since then, he has continued his career while balancing his role as a public advocate, speaking openly about the importance of representation, mental health awareness, and building inclusive spaces in sports. His courage has redefined what it means to succeed in basketball, proving that true strength lies not just in physical ability, but in authenticity. Dwight Howard, the complicated superstar. Dwight Howard's career stands as one of the most fascinating and complicated stories in NBA history. Standing at 6'10" with unmatched athleticism, Howard quickly rose to become one of the league's most dominant centers after being drafted first overall by the Orlando Magic in 2004. He lived up to the hype, leading the Magic to the 2009 NBA Finals and winning 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards from 2009 to 2011. By the time he reached his prime, he was an 8-time All-Star, 5-time rebounding champion, and eventually an NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2020. Few big men in the modern game could match his combination of power, speed, and charisma. With career totals of over 19,000 points and 14,000 rebounds, Howard built a Hall of Fame-worthy resume. But just as his on-court achievements were cementing his legacy, Howard's private life began attracting intense scrutiny. Beginning in 2018, multiple individuals came forward with allegations about relationships with him, including men and transgender women. One highly publicized incident involved a man named Masen Elige, who accused Howard of attending transgender sex parties. The controversy escalated further in 2023 when Stephen Harper filed a lawsuit claiming that he and Howard engaged in a consensual encounter with a transgender woman. Howard's own admission that the encounter was consensual raised questions about his sexuality and personal life. At one point, Howard was quoted saying, "If this makes me gay, then I'm gay," a statement that highlighted his inner conflict but also created a media firestorm. Yet, whenever asked directly about his sexuality, his response remained defensive and evasive. He often insisted his personal life was nobody's business, which only deepened the mystery. His short-lived marriage to rapper Amy Luciani in 2024, followed by divorce in 2025, seemed to many like another attempt to maintain a traditional image. The fallout from these controversies has overshadowed parts of Howard's basketball career, which is unfortunate given his accomplishments. Despite being in the NBA for nearly 2 decades, his reputation often drifts toward off-court stories rather than his Hall of Fame-worthy statistics. Howard's situation illustrates the larger struggle professional athletes face in reconciling personal identity with public perception in a sport historically known for hypermasculinity. Lamar Odom, the troubled talent. Lamar Odom's story is one of triumph, tragedy, and endless speculation about his private life. Born in South Jamaica, Queens, Odom overcame a difficult childhood marked by his mother's death and his father's absence. Basketball became his escape, and by the time he declared for the NBA draft in 1999, his talent was undeniable. Selected 4th overall by the Los Angeles Clippers, he quickly established himself as a versatile forward with guard-like skills. Odom's unique ability to handle the ball at 6'10" made him one of the most unselfish players of his era. His career highlight came with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he became a vital piece alongside Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol, winning 2 NBA championships in 2009 and 2010. He was honored as the NBA 6th Man of the Year in 2011, cementing his reputation as a team-first player. Yet, while his skills made headlines on the court, his personal life drew just as much attention. Odom's whirlwind marriage to Khloe Kardashian turned him into a reality TV star, but it also exposed the darker sides of his lifestyle: drug addiction, infidelity, and brushes with death, including his near-fatal overdose at a Nevada brothel in 2015. In 2022, speculation about Odom's romantic life reached new levels when transgender model Danielle Alexis shared intimate Instagram photos with captions suggesting the two were far more than friends. The posts sparked endless rumors, especially given Odom's history of secrecy and the carefully worded denials issued by his representatives. What made the rumors even more compelling was Alexis's striking resemblance to Odom's ex-wife, Khloe Kardashian, suggesting a type that transcended traditional gender boundaries. Insiders hinted that Odom's long struggle with substance abuse may have lowered inhibitions, opening him to relationships he once kept hidden. His refusal to directly address questions about LGBTQ+ connections only fueled speculation, with observers interpreting his discomfort in interviews as a sign he had more to reveal. Despite the scandals, Odom has worked to rebuild his life, speaking openly about his battles with addiction and emphasizing his desire to inspire others through recovery. His return to public appearances and reality paints the image of a man still searching for stability. Yet the lingering questions about his sexuality remain part of his complex narrative. A champion on the court, but a man haunted by private battles off it. Dillon Brooks, the villain's private life. Dillon Brooks has built his NBA identity around toughness, trash talk, and relentless defense. Born in Mississauga, Ontario, Brooks rose through the Canadian basketball system before starring at the University of Oregon. By his junior season, he had become one of the best players in the Pac-12, averaging 16.1 points per game and earning Conference Player of the Year honors. Drafted in the second round in 2017 by the Houston Rockets and immediately traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, Brooks quickly became a gritty wing who embodied the Grizzlies' grit and grind culture. He made his mark as a fearless defender, willing to challenge the league's biggest stars, and by 2023, he was known as the NBA's ultimate villain after high-profile clashes with LeBron James and other superstars. But Brooks's reputation isn't only defined by his defense. Off the court, his personal life has sparked significant controversy, particularly surrounding his alleged relationship with a Canadian woman named Big Bambina, who many speculated was transgender. The story began when Brooks's ex-girlfriend, Heather Holly, accused him of cheating with Bambina. The accusation hit harder than typical gossip because it specifically questioned Bambina's gender identity, which quickly fueled online debate. Brooks chose silence throughout the controversy, which only deepened public intrigue. Normally, athletes respond quickly to false claims, especially when their reputations are on the line. Yet Brooks never publicly addressed the rumors, leaving fans and media to speculate. Big Bambina later shared her birth certificate to prove she was not transgender, but the fact she felt compelled to do so highlighted the intensity of the situation. Adding fuel to the fire was the timeline of their alleged relationship. Reports claimed Brooks and Bambina had been linked since 2021, a claim that suggested more than a passing connection. Social media activity also hinted at closeness between the two, with Bambina appearing to know details about Brooks's schedule and personal life. Her decision to wipe her Instagram clean after the scandal only added to the mystery. Through it all, Brooks maintained his villain persona on the court, leaning into his reputation as one of the league's most polarizing players. In 2023, the Memphis Grizzlies decided not to re-sign him, and he moved on to the Houston Rockets, where he continued to draw attention for his aggressive style and sharp tongue. Yet no matter what he accomplishes in uniform, the lingering rumors about his personal life remain part of his story, illustrating how today's athletes are often judged as much by gossip as by performance. Ray Allen. The Sharpshooter's Scandal. Ray Allen's name is synonymous with basketball greatness. Known as one of the deadliest three-point shooters in NBA history, Allen's silky jump shot and clutch performances earned him 10 All-Star appearances, 2 NBA championships, 2008 with the Boston Celtics and 2013 with the Miami Heat, and a permanent spot in the Hall of Fame. His 2,973 career three-pointers stood as the all-time record until broken by Stephen Curry in 2021, cementing his place as a pioneer of the modern perimeter game. Off the court, Allen cultivated the image of a family man and disciplined professional. But in 2017, his reputation was shaken by a scandal that left fans questioning how well they really knew him. That year, Allen claimed he was the victim of an elaborate catfishing scheme. A man named Bryant Coleman allegedly posed as multiple women online, engaging Allen in intimate conversations and extracting private information. The NBA legend filed legal action, asserting he had been deceived. Coleman countered with explosive claims of his own, insisting that he and Allen had actually shared a 3-year gay relationship and that Allen knew Coleman's identity all along. The case quickly spiraled into one of the most talked-about NBA controversies of the decade. Coleman's allegations included mention of private photos, videos, and messages he claimed were exchanged consensually. While none of this evidence was ever publicly released, the mere suggestion of such material kept the story alive. Coleman further alleged that after their falling out, Allen harassed him with late-night calls and even threats, behavior that sounded more like that of a jilted partner than someone exposing a scam. Allen's legal team painted Coleman as unstable and seeking attention, insisting their client was simply a victim of manipulation. Yet the story never fully disappeared. Skeptics pointed to the length of the alleged relationship and the depth of the communications as indicators that this was more than a catfishing hoax. Why, they asked, would a savvy media-trained NBA star repeatedly fall for the same trick over several years? In the end, both sides reached a private settlement, and the case quietly faded from headlines. Allen returned to his role as a basketball ambassador, motivational speaker, and philanthropist. He focused on his family, business ventures, and legacy on the court. But the shadow of the scandal still lingers whenever his name resurfaces in discussions about NBA players with complicated private lives, raising larger questions about the pressures athletes face to maintain flawless public images. Kevin Durant, the enigmatic scorer. Kevin Durant's basketball brilliance is unquestionable. Drafted second overall in 2007, he quickly proved himself as one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. With 2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs, 1 regular season MVP, 2014, and 14 All-Star appearances, Durant has a resume that places him among the legends. His combination of size, skill, and shooting touch has made him virtually unguardable, and his career average of 27.3 points per game puts him in the conversation with the very best to ever play. Known as KD, he has been the face of franchises from Oklahoma City to Golden State, Brooklyn, and now the Phoenix Suns. Yet for all the accolades on the court, Durant's personal life remains a mystery. Unlike many of his superstar peers, he has avoided long-term public relationships. Aside from a brief engagement to WNBA player Monica Wright in 2013, his dating history is surprisingly thin for a celebrity of his stature. This unusual privacy has fueled endless speculation about his romantic interests, particularly because he has remained single for nearly a decade, despite being one of the NBA's most recognizable figures. Rumors about Durant's sexuality have circulated for years, with whispers linking him to transgender women. Stories emerged about a transgender woman named Ava, though no credible evidence has ever surfaced to support these claims. Durant's tendency to avoid direct answers when asked about relationships has only deepened curiosity. Some argue his guarded approach reflects a man fiercely protective of his personal life, while others interpret it as an effort to shield truths he isn't ready to share. Fueling this perception is Durant's occasional use of homophobic language on social media, which has led to fines from the NBA. In 2021, he was penalized $50,000 for offensive messages exchanged online. To critics, this behavior suggests internal conflict. To supporters, it reflects poor judgment in moments of anger rather than hidden truths. Either way, it reinforces the idea that his private identity is far more layered than the public persona he projects. Durant's avoidance of traditional relationships contrasts with carefully staged public appearances with women, which some see as image management rather than authentic romance. While many NBA stars use their fame to showcase their personal lives, Durant seems to retreat further into privacy, rarely even addressing speculation. His philosophical comments in interviews, speaking of heartbreak and independence, paint him as a man who has chosen an unconventional path, one where basketball and self-reflection take precedence over marriage or family. Rudy Gobert, the defensive anchor. Rudy Gobert has built his reputation on dominance in the paint. Born in Saint-Quentin, France in 1992, Gobert entered the NBA as the 27th pick in the 2013 draft by the Utah Jazz. What began as a project player quickly turned into a franchise cornerstone. Standing at 7'1" with a wingspan of 7'9", Gobert redefined rim protection for a new generation of NBA fans. Over his career, he has won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 2018, 2019, 2021, earned 4 All-NBA selections, and appeared in 3 All-Star games. His career averages of 12.5 points, 11.7 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks per game underscore his role as one of the league's most reliable defensive anchors, a player who can single-handedly change opposing teams' offensive strategies. But beyond the accolades, Gobert has found himself the subject of recurring rumors and speculation about his personal life. Despite maintaining relationships with women, most notably Julia Bonilla, with whom he reportedly split during her pregnancy in 2023, questions about his sexuality have often surfaced in media and fan discussions. The speculation intensified after incidents that seemed to complicate his public image. In 2023, Gobert was fined for making a homophobic gesture during a game, an act many saw as either careless immaturity or possibly a projection of internal conflict. Critics argued that his behavior reflected insecurity, while others insisted it was simply poor judgment in a heated moment. Despite this chatter, Gobert has never publicly addressed questions about his sexuality. Instead, he has focused on his career, especially after being traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2022. There, he continued to anchor defenses, helping the franchise reach the playoffs with his trademark shot blocking and rebounding. What makes Gobert's situation particularly complex is the cultural lens. As a French athlete in the NBA spotlight, his every move is magnified internationally, where societal attitudes toward LGBTQ+ issues vary widely. That dual pressure, representing both his homeland and his NBA team, may explain his reluctance to speak openly about anything outside basketball. Gobert's story is not just about block shots and defensive awards. It's about how fame, culture, and personal privacy collide in the life of a global sports star. Whether the rumors are baseless gossip or reflections of hidden truth, they reveal how fans are often just as fascinated by the private lives of athletes as their performance on the court. Zion Williamson, the phenom under scrutiny. When Zion Williamson entered the NBA in 2019 as the #1 overall draft pick, he was hailed as the most hyped prospect since LeBron James. At 6'6" and nearly 285 pounds, his combination of raw power and explosive leaping ability made him a once-in-a-generation athlete. In just his rookie season, Williamson averaged 22.5 points and 6.3 rebounds per game, proving the hype was justified. By his 3rd season, he was already a 2-time All-Star, captivating fans with thunderous dunks and highlight reels that made the New Orleans Pelicans must-watch basketball. But alongside his brilliance on the court, Williamson's personal life has been marked by turbulence. His relationships have drawn as much attention as his basketball feats. In 2023, adult film actress Mariah Mills made headlines with fiery social media rants, accusing Williamson of betrayal and painting a picture of a chaotic love life. Around the same time, his connection with another woman, Akima, became public, creating a swirl of drama that overshadowed his return from injuries. The controversies didn't end there. In 2022, rumors circulated online alleging Williamson had been romantically linked to a transgender man who had transitioned from female to male. While the claims were never confirmed and quickly denied by those close to the situation, the level of specificity, alleged messages, photos, and timelines, led many to believe the whispers had roots in insider knowledge. Even Mills, during her public tirades, hinted at Zion's feminine behaviors, a phrase that fueled further speculation about his private preferences. These rumors, though unverified, highlight the intense scrutiny placed on Williamson. In an era where athletes are more exposed than ever through social media, every detail of his private life has been dissected. His decision not to publicly address most of these claims has left fans and critics alike guessing. Silence in Zion's case has become its own statement, one that allows mystery to persist. Professionally, Williamson has also faced setbacks that mirror his off-court struggles. Repeated injuries have limited him to fewer than half of his team's games since being drafted, raising questions about whether his body can sustain his high-flying style. Still, when healthy, his impact is undeniable. In the 2022-23 season, he averaged 26 points on 60% shooting, showing flashes of the dominance that made him the most coveted college star at Duke. Zion Williamson stands today as both a symbol of immense promise and a lightning rod for speculation, his youth, fame, and fortune placing him under a microscope where every rumor becomes a headline. Dwyane Wade, the champion. Dwyane Wade's career is etched into NBA history as one of the greatest shooting guards ever to play the game. Drafted 5th overall by the Miami Heat in 2003, Wade quickly became one of the league's most electrifying players. His ability to slash to the rim, his fearless finishes, and his clutch performances earned him the nickname Flash. By the time he retired in 2019, Wade had secured 3 NBA championships, 2006, 2012, 2013, a Finals MVP, 13 All-Star selections, and a place on the NBA's 75th anniversary team. With career averages of 22.0 points, 5.4 assists, and 4.7 rebounds, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest shooting guards of all time, a player who changed the trajectory of the Miami Heat franchise forever. Off the court, however, Wade has built a second legacy, one rooted in advocacy, family, and courage. In 2020, his daughter Zaya Wade publicly came out as transgender at the age of 12, sparking both praise and criticism. Wade, alongside his wife, actress Gabrielle Union, stood firmly by her side. His unconditional support made headlines worldwide, transforming him into one of the most visible allies of the LGBTQ+ community in professional sports. Wade's journey into advocacy was not a staged PR move, but a deeply personal evolution. In interviews, he admitted that he had little knowledge of transgender issues at first and had to educate himself. He openly shared that learning to support Zaya was a process, one that required unlearning old stereotypes and embracing new truths. His vulnerability resonated with fans, proving that even sports icons are parents first and foremost. In 2022, Wade and Union took their commitment further by moving their family out of Florida, citing restrictive laws targeting the LGBTQ community. They launched the Translatable Project in 2024, designed to amplify transgender voices and provide resources for families navigating similar journeys. This initiative highlighted not only their dedication, but also Wade's willingness to put his platform to work in ways that reach far beyond basketball. Wade has faced criticism from some circles, particularly from those who accuse him of exploiting his daughter's identity for attention or argue that children are too young to make such decisions. Yet Wade has been unwavering, once responding to critics by saying, "This is not a game." His fierce defense reflects a father's determination to protect his child at all costs, no matter the backlash. Today, Wade's legacy is twofold. On one hand, he will forever be remembered for his fearless drives to the basket and his role in building the Miami Heat dynasty. On the other, he stands as a powerful symbol of acceptance, showing that athletes can use their influence to spark change. These stories from the hardwood reveal a sport and a society in transition. From Jason Collins's groundbreaking coming out to Dwyane Wade's unwavering support for his transgender daughter, each narrative illuminates different aspects of the complex relationship between professional basketball and LGBTQ+ identity. Some players have found the courage to live openly, while others remain the subject of speculation and rumor, their true selves perhaps hidden beneath the weight of professional expectations and personal fear. What emerges most clearly is that basketball, like all professional sports, is finally confronting its historically rigid definitions of masculinity. The hyper-masculine culture that once demanded conformity is slowly giving way to a more nuanced understanding of identity, allowing glimpses of authenticity to emerge even in this most traditional of sporting environments. For every player who has come out publicly, countless others likely remain silent, weighing the potential costs to their careers, endorsements, and personal lives. The fact that just 3 active professional basketball players have openly identified as gay or bisexual, Jason Collins, Isaac Humphries, and more recently, Marco Lehmann of Switzerland's professional league, speaks to the ongoing challenges in creating truly inclusive sporting environments. Yet change is happening, evident in the overwhelmingly positive response to recent coming-out stories, and in allies like Dwyane Wade, who use their platforms to advocate for acceptance. These evolving attitudes suggest that the next generation of players may face fewer barriers to authenticity than their predecessors. The journey toward full acceptance in professional basketball remains incomplete, but each story of courage, whether in public declarations or private truths, moves the game closer to a future where players are valued for their talent and character, rather than judged by whom they love. If these stories resonated with you, subscribe now and join our community as we continue exploring the untold narratives that shape sports and culture. The conversation is just beginning.